so today we're going to be talking about a theory by Skinny Kite. I don't know how you say your name, man, but Skinny Kite on Reddit. Basically, I'll have a link down below to his article. It says, idea about Shadow Bonnie. And what he says is, don't know if anyone has thought of this before, sorry if you already came up with this kind of thing, but he says, so for a long time, I've been thinking there's something very unsettling about the Shadow Bonnie character in comparison to the other hallucinations. I mean, yeah, I think most people had a kinda, what in the holy is sort of gut reaction the first time they saw it, but that's not what I mean. Like, something about it is disturbing, and it seems to be beyond just the creepy glowing eyes. And last night I had a thought coming into my head. What if it's supposed to be a representation of a shadow person of some sort? If you aren't familiar, shadow people are a type of hallucination categorized by their pitch black look, and in some cases, bright white facial features, if any at all, and often only appear in the corner of your eye and disappear when looked at. While generally a hallucination had by people with schizophrenia, this isn't always the case, as they can also appear in non-related waking dreams. You know, the type of nightmares that Scott had about Bonnie. So what if Shadow Bonnie is a visual representation of what he saw in his nightmares? I mean, it looks like your average shadow person, despite not being a person, and has no explanation for why it's there at all. So it would make sense if it had some kind of base to it, rather than just being out of nowhere addition to the game. But anyways, that's just an idea spawned from some sudden thought I had. I could be completely off. Tell me what you guys think about the idea, I guess. So that sounds amazing, to be honest. That sounds so cool because it makes sense. If you didn't know this, basically Bonnie is the creature or the animatronic that scares Scott the most. He has nightmares about it all the time, he said in an interview, and he just doesn't like the animatronic. So for him to add it into the game, like it's a hallucination, but it's a hallucination that Scott's kind of having. I don't know, it's kind of crazy, but let's read some comments here. He says, in lore terms, I'd say probably not, but from a fourth wall scene, it's quite possible. So, you know, it depends on how you look at it, basically, which is the same thing with any theory. But another guy says, I remember when my friend told me that while he was in his grandmother's house during holidays, his grandpa died a while ago, he woke up very early and decided to make breakfast, and while he was walking away from the kitchen, he saw in the corner of his eye, on mirror in kitchen, a dark figure cutting cucumbers. What? He ran out of the kitchen terrified. When I saw Shadow Bonnie for the first time, that's the first thing that came to mind. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is an actual thing. I mean, I'm sure that we all have those moments where, you know, we're on the computer and we look to the side and we think we see something and we turn and there's nothing there. But I mean, that's kind of, it makes sense because we all know that Shadow Bonnie, or Bonnie, like I said before, isn't exactly Scott's favorite character. So let's read one more though. He says, I like to think Shadow Bonnie is the appearance of a ghost that's been around for at least a century. Maybe his house was demolished and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was built where it used to be. Hence why he's there in the first place. He witnessed all the events that happened there, the murders, the bite, he saw everything. That at least explains him phasing through thumbnails of the previous minigames. In his minigame, he's looking back at all he's seen before, saving the final kid and leaving with them. So that's a very interesting comment right there that I didn't even read this before, but reading this now, that's crazy actually, because it kind of makes sense, and I'm sure there's things that go against it, but I mean, to think about that Shadow Bonnie is this thing that's been there all along basically. And, you know, it plays this huge role in the game because, I mean, people always have this suspicion saying that, you know, they think Bonnie plays a pretty important role in the game because, obviously, this is the one that Scott's the most afraid of. But to hear it like this and actually think about it, does make a lot of sense because, you know, he's right. He's been there, like, in the minigames at least. You know, in his minigame, you kind of go through all of that. And you see all of these different things happening. Now, this doesn't, you know, directly show that, oh, man, he's clearly been there all along, but it's a nice little theory to actually think about on the side of this actual theory itself. So I really like this theory. I thought it was great, and especially that comment at the end by Reddit user Neon and Andre Hot Dogs? Neo New York Ander Hot Dogs. What kind of name is that, man? But anyways, his comment was pretty interesting. I really like this theory overall. It brought some interesting points about Shadow Bonnie because obviously, like he said before, we don't really know anything about it, and to think about it in this way, it really brings a lot of light onto things. You know, it really brings up some new points that we could discuss, and I'm sure I'd love to read you guys' comments in the comment section down below. If you guys agree with this theory, tell me in the comment section down below. Leave a like down below, and let's reach 1,000 likes, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.